Hi everyone. This is a denim, it's almost like a denim jacket come shirt, and I'm just going to pop a photo up and show you. It had your standard buttons down here, and it needed to be shortened quite a bit, and he didn't want me to go to the trouble of doing it at the armhole up the top of the sleeve. So it's not exactly an easy one to do, but the position that it was being taken up to was just above the top buttonhole. And of course, as you know, when the fabric is cut, you know, and you can't really leave, even if it was below that and you left one buttonhole, it'll kind of look a bit weird. So what I've done is I've added a false piece, and I've used a piece from, you know, what I've cut off. So I'm just going to take you through how I did that, because if you find yourself in a situation where you want to shorten the sleeves on something like this, and it's got buttons and buttonholes, and it's going to go up just above that buttonhole, then this might be something that would come in useful for you. This is a lightweight denim jacket, and you can see that it's going to be shortened just at that buttonhole there, just above it. Now, you could turn that under, but what that will do is you've got the buttonhole right on that edge, and it would be bulky, and I'll show you why. So I'm just going to take these buttons off, and you can see this buttonhole here. It's quite thick. It's probably about 1/8 of an inch thick. See that? So if that was turned under like that, you know, you'd have that on that side, which to me is just wrong. So what I've done is I've unpicked this, and I've unpicked this buttonhole here, so that this fabric is now separated. You can see there where it's been dyed. So this was white, and then they've dyed it the blue. So what that means is where you've got zigzagging, for example, you've got that. But what I'll do is I'll zigzag that later and you won't see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this section off around the bottom, which I have also unpicked, and I'm going to attach that onto here and then turn that under, and that'll be like a facing. And then I'm going to close this down here and cut away that excess, because so it'll be like that. He did not want to pay to get it shortened from the shoulders, which I suggested. He said, no, it's not worth it, just cut it off and shorten it. So that's what I'm going to do. The one little thing here, you can see that they've used their own bias on the edge, so rather than change that, I would rather undo it, which takes 2 seconds to do, like that. And I have unpicked the other side. Again, when I stitch it down, I'll cover that, see the white where it was white. And I'll just cut that away. And hopefully it'll fit almost to the end. Oh, it does. There you go. So we'll just pop that on, get rid of the thread. And that's going to be covered by the false hem that I'm going to put on it. So that's one side. So I'll stitch that on and then we're ready to put the false hem on. So what I've done, I've stitched that down and I've stitched that on because this is going to be covered that little bit there. But also I've used 2 threads in my sewing machine at the top so that I get a thick thread and I can cover that white. I'll show you the other sleeve so you recall what it was like. See how you can see that stitching down there, and also where there was this stitching across there. So you can't do anything about underneath, but nobody's going to see that. So that's if we put them side by side. And also there was this faint outline going around there, so I stitched across there and down there so that it's hard to see that white. So you can, it's almost disappeared. So you can see that it didn't reach, and that's because when you go up a sleeve, the sleeve gets wider, of course. So I've just added an extension from the offcut, pin that on, and what I'll do is I'll just go around and do that and then turn that under, and we've got our cuff. Do the same with this side. See, there's 2 threads there. when you add an extension to something, as I've done here, so that's going to go up and under like that, you have this seam here, and what you really need to do is to stitch that down so that you're stitching this seam and this section here together. That is called understitching. So you're stitching it under, right? And what that will do is when you stitch it under like that, it helps to force that to stay back, and then you don't get this happening, you know, where it can flop back. So I'm going to go around and I'm just going to understitch, and then I'm going to stitch this on there like that. And now what we have to do is fold this over and pin it into place and stitch it. Now I'm going to sew on the right side, so I've got to try and catch it as I go, because I've got that 2 threads running through the top of the machine, and I want them so that I keep the authenticity of the denim thread look. So, and you can generally, once you get used to doing this, just got to make sure those seams are flat. There we go. So when you're sewing it, you can sort of see that ridge, and look, it's like anything, you know, when you learn how to ride a bike, you fall off a few times. Well, you know, that's what sewing like this is like, or sewing what I call topside. You know, you'll miss it a couple of times, but eventually you'll get used to it. And you know, I mean, I've had situations where I've missed it, and so what I do is I just unpack that particular area and restitch it. You know, you don't have to do the whole thing, because you just start over the top of the stitching. So there we go. So you can see how that looks great. We've covered the buttonholes, and you can't see the buttonhole on the inside, so we'll just stitch that and we're finished. So there's the finished result, and you can see the inside. Same here. So that's just another way for you to shorten sleeves on a denim shirt jacket.